at the beginning of the movie, I was thinking, I actually felt queasy.
It's like, was there?
Were you thinking that when you did your 50-metre swim and stuff like that?
It was people being sort of dragged along the floor, and the cameraman is obviously going like that, trying to track them.
And so their natural state of condition, and they are the old elderly couple in it. They're the ones that you kind of latch onto, really.
Yes. As they say, sing it so often that you don't want it to be a morning. Just as New Year's hits, so does the wave.
It was like Old Lang Old.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Screen Time.
Yes, welcome.
On this channel, we love to watch old movies from our childhood, and new content that we've not experienced before. If you like this content, please feel free to like and subscribe. It's something we always forget to do.
We do always forget to ask for that little thing.
It'd
be amazing if you could. So thank you in advance. So what did we watch this week, Lou?
Well, this week we went to an oldie.
Yeah, it's an oldie,
It's
a goodie.
It's an oldie but a goodie, We watched The Poseidon Adventure.
Yes, we did. Poseidon Adventure. So when's the first time you saw Poseidon Adventure?
I think I saw the Poseidon Adventure. It was probably on television.
Oh, it would have been television.
Yeah, it was television. And I mean, I get the feeling that there were a lot of those sorts of disaster movies that came out similar time.
Yeah.
You know, the aircraft ones, the airplane ones. Airport. Was it airport or
airport?
Airport.
Not airplane.
Yeah. Airplane was
the spoof.
Yeah. So they all sort of came out at the same time. But I loved them.
Yeah.
But I was very young when I saw this, but for some reason it didn't scare me about transport.
No.
I enjoyed them.
So the Poseidon Adventure was in the heyday of the disaster movies of the 70s. It was kind of early 70s, and then they got progressively more ridiculous as they went on. But in the early 70s, there was the Towering Inferno. You had Poseidon Adventure. You had,
Earthquake.
Earthquake was a huge one. I think that was 69, I think, or early 70s. And huge budgets and huge stars. I mean, the Poseidon Adventure was 1972. And Irwin Allen was the director and the producer of all of these big budget movies. But it had Roddy McDowall in it. It had Shelley Winters. It had Pamela Sue Martin.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, weirdly, who isn't even credited in the opening credits. It's like, oh, wonder why they didn't do that. He is at the end, but not at the beginning credits. Yeah, it's really strange. Yes, so there's great actors in this. Do you want to tell us about the plot, Lou?
Well, the plot is it's a cruise ship,
a
cruise liner.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Rosen.
Good morning. Don't fall over.
They're on their
final trip.
It's their final trip. The ship is due to be, salvaged when they get to their final destination. I think they're going to Athens, from New York to Athens, and it's their final journey. And you're introduced quite early on that the ballast is all...
Yes, it's top heavy.
That last one almost broached us, the Narcos. I warned you. We should have loaded extra bunkers in Gibraltar. We are top heavy.
Bit top heavy. The ballast is wrong.
Yeah, and they're being made to go fast, aren't they?
They're being made. Yeah, it's got a bit of a Titanic
vibe. Feel to it. Or exactly.
We need to get to this location to get this thing scrapped.
Damn it, man! The Poseidon is too fine a lady to be rushed to the junkyard on her last voyage.
We are already 3 days behind schedule.
They've got a crew. They've got the whole passengers.
And it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And you join the ship when it's pretty choppy waters.
Yeah. Oh my God. Who's not dying?
3/4 of the passengers are sick, Mr. Rogo. We have to take them in rotation.
So they're on their journey. They're about to celebrate New Year's.
Yeah. There's a seismic event.
There's an underwater earthquake.
Yeah.
In, I think it's is it like Crete or somewhere?
It's in Crete, yes.
Yeah.
Epicenter 130 miles northwest of Crete.
And so they're keeping an eye on this sort of body of water, this swell.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, just as New Year's hits.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Perfect timing, so does the wave.
It was like Old Lang, oh no.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So they hit New Year and then the wave hits.
Yeah. The main premise of this film
is trying to escape
the boat, but the boat inverts. It basically gets turned over in the water, and so where the top of the ship is now the bottom, and they need to escalate up.
Yeah.
The way up.
Go to the hull of the boat.
Yeah, to get out.
Yeah.
What is clever about this film is that right at the beginning of the movie, this tagline comes up which says, "At midnight on New Year's Eve, the SS Poseidon, en route from New York to Athens, met with disaster and was lost. There were only a handful of survivors. This is their story." Now, I think for that time period, that was a clever thing to do.
Oh, yeah, because people wouldn't have been able to look that up and would have just...
Exactly.
Because I looked it up when I watched it this time round, because I was like, was there?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Straight on my phone.
It's really clever. And this sort of thing, this whole kind of like Blair Witch Project found footage thing is quite, you think is quite a modern phenomenon.
Yeah.
But this was a marketing genius, I thought.
Yes.
Because all the way through you're caring about the characters so much more.
Oh, Manny!
Are you all right?
I think so.
You're not hurt?
No.
When I looked it up, it said, I think it was the Queen Mary had a moment where she almost went over.
Is that right?
And that's where these stories came from.
Oh.
But it didn't actually topple the boat.
Right,
it didn't capsize the boat.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's an element of something. But I mean, it's...
I think it's based on a book, but
It is.
I think also as you say, the director experienced being on a boat and it really being
leaning
and just had that premise in his head. It was like, where is this? What could happen?
Yeah.
It's a bit preposterous, really, the scenario, but I think it's handled so well. I think it's the sets, the attention to detail. Let's talk about
that's
that.
Definitely something that I put in my notes. You can tell that they're sets because they come in a door, they experience a moment, and then they leave the set.
Yes.
And so it's very much like that, but it doesn't get in the way of the viewing.
No.
So, and I mean, the amount of challenges that they get put through in each of these sets, you know, they have to climb, they have to haul themselves up things, they have to go through water. I mean, they really go through a lot in order to try and survive.
You follow me, and don't look down.
Their first set they go through, there's been like a huge fire and there's a lot of bodies around.
It's quite graphic.
It's very graphic. I mean, you can see where water has dripped through and they've got all of like the rusting already on the boat. And then they're having to sort of use fire lines to climb up.
It's all right, Mrs. Rosen. I helped my dad pull in a 600-pound swordfish out Hawaii.
And then the turret, which they have to climb up, where the water is, you know, bubbling below them. It was really,
clever,
really
actually.
clever.
They filmed, so they actually used the Queen Mary, which was docked in Long Beach, for the exterior decking shots, and also for the ballroom.
Right.
Weirdly, they used the ballroom, which is where they had the midnight party, because that's the only shot in the movie where you actually see the tipping happen. They dressed the set on the Queen Mary, but then they also did a duplicate set in Los Angeles, and they put it on like a large gimbal, and they used forklift trucks to lift it to a certain degree. Then obviously they use camera technology, you know, twisting the camera to exaggerate that. And then they redressed the set inverted. So they had the lights on the floor. But that's the only set they had to do that with, because that's where it was focused.
Yeah.
All the other sets were all purpose-built upside down. And that was brilliant. Just little throwaway, little jokes even, where the little boy goes hunting for a toilet because he's like, oh, I really need... And he goes into the men's room, and of course all the toilets are on the ceiling. And he's like, well, what do I do? You know, and it's a little bit of humour in this.
When the boat does capsize, and you've got the Christmas tree upside down. I mean, the stunts.
Yeah.
And the way they filmed it for the time, you can now look at Titanic and the amount of, like, when people were crashing down. And I mean, there were moments where I kind of giggled a little bit because it was people being sort of dragged along the floor, and the cameraman is obviously going like that, trying to track them, but
they tilt
it.
But
then there were moments where there were people sliding and hitting furniture and doing those sorts of stunts. There were some big wide shots with some real stunts happening. You've got to give it to them for that. And so it was, you had those sort of funny moments, but then you had these bigger moments where crashing through all of the chairs. I mean, the chairs were bolted on, but then you can believe that if you're going through rough weather on a boat.
I've been on boats where the chairs
will be, because they don't want them moving around.
Yeah. I also like the flooding scene where they're in that ballroom, and you can tell a lot of it is atmospheric. So they did a lot. There's a lot more steam than there is water.
Yes.
But it really, with the sound effects and everything, it's like, wow, this is, really impressive.
The sound effects and the actual practical effects that are used in this is so good. Yeah. That underwater sequence is fantastic.
Where they're swimming under the water.
Where they're swimming, I mean, you feel so... The whole thing is you are there. I find myself, whenever I watch this, and especially when I was younger, I was right in there with them, and you're thinking, how would I escape? How would I manage? Would I be strong enough to do all of that?
Were you thinking that when you did your 50-meter swim and stuff like that?
I wouldn't have been able to do the swim, I don't think. They underwater a long time.
Do you know what I was impressed with, though? That all the actors did their own stunts for that. And they actually shot the entire movie in sequence. So they went through and did all of these different things that they had to do along the storyline. Yeah. And so their natural state of condition was almost, obviously there was makeup and stuff
done. Yeah, but by the end they're like, just get me off of
this.
They
didn't jump around, so they were like, oh, well, in this scene we need to be less than that
scene.
So
they felt the progression
of their character. And obviously they were put under lots of climbing, lots of water stuff, lots of getting wet, getting cold. Let's talk about the characters, because I think...
I mean, one that actually jumped out at me, because when I look back now, he's most famous for the sort of outtake films is Leslie Nielsen.
Okay. Yes.
And he's the captain in this. Yeah. And, he's playing a straight-laced character.
Yeah.
Your business is to deliver this ship where we want it, when we want it.
Running an unstable ship at full ahead is dangerous.
I'm sure.
Especially one as old as this.
Of course, he was in Airplane, which was a takeoff of one of these types of films. The
thing with Leslie Nielsen is that he was actually a very serious actor. He was in Forbidden Planet. He played the role completely straight. And this was almost like the tail end of his first career. And it wasn't until he did Airplane that he suddenly got a second wave of work. Because he was literally, before Airplane came along, he was thinking of just retiring.
Yeah.
But this was him in his natural setting, really.
Right.
Being this action, strong character. It's a shame he's not in it more, really.
I do think before they get to the wave, you do have quite a lot of content of build-up.
Yeah.
So you get to learn about the characters.
Yes.
We're going to get to know our grandson. Just think. He's 2 years old already. He's talking. We've never even seen him.
It's only when the actual wave hits, then you're left with your heroes. You know who your heroes are as soon as they climb that tree.
Yeah.
But before that, it's a real build-up. You learn about one of the couples. It becomes very clear that before she was married, she was a prostitute.
She was a prostitute, and he was the cop.
Yeah.
Well, first you arrested me 6 times.
Well, I had to figure out some way to keep you off the streets until you'd marry me.
He's so protective of her.
Very protective.
And that goes all the way through the movie. It's quite harrowing, actually, a lot of those connections.
Because typical with disaster, I mean, so you've got the cop and the prostitute.
Yes.
You've got Gene Hackman, who plays a priest. Who's
preacher.
Not a preacher.
Yeah.
He's not questioning his faith, but he's questioning the teachings of it, because he believes a certain way that you should help yourself and you shouldn't just pray to God for.
Yeah.
You know.
Get down on your knees and pray to God for help, and then maybe everything will work out fine. Garbage. Not where I come from.
And then you've got Susan and Robin, who are the young kids who are going off to see their parents, and they're meeting their parents. You've got Akers, who is the ship purser. And then you've got Mr. and Mrs. Rosen, and they're off to see their grandchild. And they are the old elderly couple in it. They're the ones that you kind of latch onto, really.
Yes.
They're
the ones that really pull the heartstrings.
Yeah, they really
for me.
do. Yeah.
We're never going to see our little grandson, are we?
Oh, darling, you have to think positively. We'll see him.
And then you've got Nonny, the singer, who I just wanted to just leave behind.
Is that the one who's singing "There Won't Be a Morning After"
there
or
won't
something?
Be a morning,
Which is
kind of...
Oh, can't you see the morning after? It's waiting right outside.
Quite, I mean, they sing it so often that you don't want it to be a morning.
Yeah, it's just like, please stop singing that song. And then you've got Mr. James Martin, who's the single man in it.
Yes, who latches onto
her. It's almost like they become a couple afterwards, sort of thing. So you've got some great characters that you can really attach yourself to.
Yeah, and they all get challenged, and they all bring something because the little boy at the beginning, he's really into boats.
Yeah,
and he makes his way through this really rough boat trip to get onto the bridge to learn about the boat. It's great because he's been in the engine room. He knows that that a certain point of the hull is only an inch thick.
Yeah,
and so he is actually the one that's giving them the information.
He gives them the gem.
Yeah,
the germ.
the actual gem to be able to get out of this boat and out of this scenario.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir, but Charlie, the third engineer, he told me that back by the shaft, the hull was only 1 inch thick.
Look, kid, do you know how thick 1 inch of steel is?
And of course, being a child, a few people are like, oh, don't listen to
Just
him,
ignore
you
him.
know.
Yeah. They all offer certain aspects.
Yes. And they all go through changes because, you look at the old couple and you think, oh, an old couple. I mean, she gets helped up the Christmas tree by the preacher pushing on her bottom, which is great.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's just like, well, I need it.
Shelley Winters is just
she is
amazing.
Wonderful.
What's down there?
Good girl. Excuse me for getting so familiar.
What else could you do?
She becomes such a strong person.
Yeah.
She's so strong. And she saves the preacher's life.
Yeah.
Manny, you think I'm planning to be careless?
What the hell does she think she's doing?
She's like, I had my swimming certificate. I can do it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's really good. Typical of these kind of movies, though, the numbers start to dwindle, and the first time someone gets lost, it's Akers, because he falls down the shaft
tube,
down into the water, and you're immediately aware, not everyone's gonna get out of this. But it's always a shock when someone is taken, and some of the characters that you really root towards are taken from you, and some of them you just think, oh, that's so upsetting, because they've got through so much and they've done so much, and then just to go out like that.
Yeah.
You see, Mr. Scott, in the water, I'm a very skinny lady.
And I'm talking about Shelley Winters here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a scene where she rescues the preacher. She's a swimmer. She rescues the preacher, gets trapped under this debris. She brings him up to the surface, and they're having a quick chat. And then she goes and has a heart attack. And you know that she's not going to get out of this. And it's so upsetting. And it's Gene Hackman's reaction, I think, that sets me off.
Give this to Manny. Tell him he has to give it to our grandson. For both of us.
He loves her.
He loves
By that
her,
point,
yeah.
he absolutely
Yeah.
loves her.
Yeah.
And she's just saved his life.
Yeah.
God, not this woman.
It breaks your heart because she's such an adorable character, and she is so strong-willed.
Yeah.
And I get even because I've seen it before a few times, the husband, I get so scared that he's just going to stay with her.
Yeah, there's
and
that
he's
moment.
always looking back.
He's always looking back.
And you just think, is there going to be a shot where it pans across and he's not going to be
there.
there?
This way, Mr. Rosen! This way!
She gives him her locket or something and says, you have to give this to the grandchildren. And so she gives him a reason.
Yeah.
And you're always hoping that he still takes that reason.
That for me is the saddest part of the movie, actually. It's not the deaths, because some of the deaths are really awful. But when they are in the part of the hull and they're cutting through, and there's this quiet moment where they're like looking at the light, they're looking at life. They're like, oh, here's the way out. Here's the way out.
And you can see the light coming through.
And then I think it's Ernest Borgnine who plays the cop. And he's looking and he's like that. And then suddenly his face drops. And then they do close-ups of all of their faces. And they shoot it so well, you know they're just thinking about what they've left behind. And the shot of the old man, no, it's actually Ernest Borgnine,
it's the cop. Yeah.
He looks back because his wife has just died in the room previous.
Yeah.
And
she fell.
She just falls. And he looks back and it's so upsetting because you just think she's literally there.
Yeah,
she's there.
Just there.
And he can't get to her.
And also, you know, if she's there or if she's up there, it's still the same situation for her.
Yeah.
I really liked the build up to the actual wave hitting. You've got the celebrations happening, and you know they're doing their countdown, and then it cuts back and forth really quickly to the bridge where the lighting is really dark. They're all sort of silhouetted by like a side light. And, you know, you can see this sort of shadow approaching, and you can see on their like GPS, there's this kind of like a fog approaching. Yeah. And it's a really different feel. Then they're all like cheering and doing Auld Lang Syne down in the lower decks. And it's brilliant. It's such a good build.
Yeah, it's a good build.
It's such a good build.
For me though, the counter to that, there's a part of me that when I look at that and I just think, there should have been a bit more preemptive on this, because they could see that this was a wave.
Yeah.
And it's only when they visibly see the wave they go, hard astern!
Hard left!
Hard left, sir.
Close all watertight doors. Sound both stations.
And I'm thinking, you knew this thing would come in 20 minutes ago. You could have turned the ship. So that's the one bit in the movie where I'm like, obviously they could have made it a bit more.
Yes, because it's
There'd
true.
be no
It's the
movie.
last minute where everyone just goes, oh, as they're turning. Yeah.
It'd be a really rubbish movie.
It would be a rubbish movie.
So, oh, that was a bump.
Yeah.
Woo! So it just wouldn't work. But also the
Poseidon-ish.
The Poseidon-ish. Adventure-ish.
Adventure-ish.
But there's one bit that at the beginning of the movie, I was thinking, I actually felt queasy.
Of course you like him. Why shouldn't you? He runs on time, like a train. Yeah, you and trains.
When in my whole life did I ever run for a train?
I was watching, I was like, why do I feel so queasy?
Oh, is it?
Then I realised they had I looked it up afterwards, but the cameras they had on these like mechanised gimbals that would basically make the camera do that all the way through all the shots. So the first, even when after the capsize, they still did it for some shots. I'm like, please stop doing that. Because the whole frame was just doing this.
I noticed it at the beginning.
Okay, so maybe they eased off later on.
I noticed it at the beginning because when they're checking on the passengers, because a lot of them are seasick.
Yeah.
I really felt it when the doctor was doing his
But they actually had the cameras on this sort of like mechanised thing that would just tilt back and forth, which is great because you think there'd be some cameraman that would forget, you know, and be like, oh, continuity. Yeah. But they had this thing constantly going. Obviously, there's some model shots in this that haven't.
I mean,
the model shots of the boats.
Yeah, I mean, the first scene when
Yeah.
it's going through the water is it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. And of course, with modern eyes, you look at this and you go, well,
there's a wave that literally goes right over the front of the boat.
I think the way that they filmed these things, the more updated films that still use models, they use a lot of wind machines to break up the particles of the water. So
more spray look.
Yeah, so you can't judge the scale as much.
Yeah.
With this, it's like you had huge globulates sort of like. But saying that, the model was 25 feet long. It was a big,
It wasn't really a model.
It was. They could have.
It was a little motorboat.
25-foot miniature ship.
Wow.
So you think, well, gosh, how big would this thing have to be in order 25? I mean, that's big. I'm not even going to measure it.
That is big.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a little motorboat.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. It was the second highest gross of that year. It made 125 million. There isn't much music. However, where they do use the music, it's to give you hope.
Yes.
At the final sequence where they're climbing up through all of this mechanism, they have this music. So, we've had some deaths. It's all good. We're getting there. There's the door. And they play this music, this really swelling music, adventurous music. And then it suddenly stops and there's a rumble. And that's when... That's when Linda then falls off down into the fire. So it gives you that full sense of security. You just think, oh, God, they've made it. And no, they're going to take someone else.
Yeah.
And then that's still not the latest because I think Gene Hackman does this final.
Yes, exactly. I mean, yeah, because I think there's a lot, as you said before, there's a lot of sound effects. And I think they use more sound effects than they do actual orchestral music throughout the movie.
Okay.
And I mean, I think so, if I remember rightly. So... You when that first funnel explodes and you can hear the noises of as if it's going, another one is going to go, like that disturbance, which suddenly it just like, that it does like it's like a bomb going off, and it goes through the entire boat. And so when they've had that initial explosion, as they're making their way through these various rooms or sets or whatever, there's that noise. There's a bit of a noise where you think, is something going? Is something building? Is something going to blow that's going to knock somebody off as they're trying to climb? And there's a lot of that.
This the only way?
Yes, sir.
And then you hear the rushing of water. Water is always very close to them.
It's chasing them, isn't it?
It's as they look behind, it suddenly comes rushing in. So you never get a breather.
No,
literally. You never get a breather. You never get, exactly. You're always aware that they are in trouble,
and there's a time
time limit to it, which is great. But the sound effects I think were really good on this, and it actually just it creates so much more than probably what the music would. It really makes you feel part of the actual environment.
Agreed. I think you actually mentioned it where you just after the capsize and the room is really dark. I love the way that they would bring the lighting up very slowly, and it's like they were almost revealing the disaster very slowly, bodies coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some kind of gnarly kind of like discoveries, but it's the slow reveal. I love that as a lighting design. That was really, really good.
The preacher.
Yeah.
He's the one that listens to the young boy.
Yes.
When he hears the young boy say, I was talking to one of the engineers and he tells me about the hull, the preacher says, right, that's what we're going to do. And he's the one that initiates, right, we're going to go to the bottom, we're going to go to the hull at the back because that's the thinnest area. And he sets them on their course.
Yes.
And then, of course, when you get to a certain part in the movie, you see other survivors.
Yes.
Where are you going?
We're following the doctor.
Doctor!
Doctor,
You're going the wrong way.
It makes it so much more real because it's such a big vessel.
Yeah.
There must have been other pockets of air.
Pockets of survivors.
People weren't, not everyone is going to be in that area. And of course, you discover that it's the doctors, it's people that have been ill, probably in like a medical area, and they're leading them to the bow, to the front of the boat.
Yeah.
And so you get this kind of moment where the preacher's trying to convince them.
Yes.
Did you check the engine rooms? Did you see it?
I don't have to. We're going forward.
And that automatically puts doubt in the group as well, because some of the group are like, well, let's just go with them. He knows what he's doing, but you know, he works here and he's the doctor, and immediately that starts to fracture, particularly between him and the cop.
Yes.
The cop is always
he's quite negative.
He's very
isn't he?
negative. Yeah. And usually his wife is the one who goes, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
We're following him. He's never done us wrong.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the sad thing is that she believed in him so much, and then she ends up dying, and the cop takes it out on him
straight away.
Then, but ultimately, I mean, the priest has to, because he's angry in his faith. Really, what more can I do? Because there's an explosion and all the steam is blocking their path, and the only way to get through this doorway is to get to this valve. And of course, the valve is hanging now in the middle of the air; it's not on the floor. So he has to do this leap of faith almost onto this very hot valve.
How many more lives?
And he's turning the steam off so they can get past.
Yeah.
There's no way he can get back.
No, well, he's hanging
in midair on this thing. And then he just turns around and he says to the cop,
Rogo! Get them through!
Get them through, and then just releases. And it's a great moment. I mean, it's a great moment. But it's the powerful end to the movie, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's like it's the final one.
Yeah.
And you just think,
it's
like someone else that you know that most of them get through so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just what the movie's about, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's still a good watch, I think.
I
hadn't seen it in a long time, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's one of those. Is it a comfort watch? It's almost a comfort watch because
it's funny because I do, and I think there's some other ones that are similar. I really enjoy watching them, even though it's really horrible what happens to the characters. But there's something that's cozy about it.
I think. Do you know what it
really
is?
Odd.
I think it's because it's the kind of movie that they used to put on at Christmas. It was a big budget movie. No, but it was a big budget movie. They'd have it on at Christmas or on Boxing Day, and you know, when we were growing up, you'd all gather to watch it. So it's probably lost a little bit now, but we still harbour those kind of like.
I guess it's not the movie.
It's not the movie. It's what it conjures up for you.
Yeah.
So Lou.
One of those again.
Yeah,
sorry.
one of. Yeah,
we're sort of quite an emotional, nostalgic kind of siblings, I think, as you can see from these watches.
I think so. So Lou.
So on the rewatch.
On the rewatch, yeah. What do you think?
I think I would give this. I think I'd give this a 7.5.
Okay. I'd give it an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it has a lot to give to the viewer. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's got so much emotion. You care about the characters. And you don't get that much really in some movies now. It's like, you know, you don't really
there's
care.
a lot of character development, and they take the time,
time.
To do that, and I think it really pays off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, if you haven't seen it, it is worth a watch. A Sunday watch. I would say it's one of those sort of movies.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's fabulous. It's really good. So,
and if you've liked this movie, please comment any things that we've missed, any other thoughts that we haven't brought up, and if you've enjoyed it, please feel free to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Okay, you take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.